Welcome to the May 3rd special council meeting to present the financial plan. We acknowledge that the land we are gathered is Treaty 2 land, traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Cree, OG Cree, Assiniboine, Dakota, and Dene Nation, and homeland of the Métis Nation. We affirm our commitment to moving forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of collaboration and reconciliation. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Deputy Mayor Laughlin. Be it resolved that Council accepts the special council meeting agenda as presented. Everybody's here, right? Yeah, so nothing of this. Is he on? Yeah. There's two of Kathy. How come two of Kathy?
She has a better smile than me, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, okay.
Are there still two of me? I clicked one off.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, okay. Be it resolved that now council adjourns to hear the public hearing as scheduled. Councillor Riel. Council will now commence to hear the representation from the City of Dauphin and any other persons who wish to make representation for this scheduled public hearing. Will now proceed with the public hearing for the 2021 financial plan of the City of Dauphin. Would the city manager like to speak in favor of the 2021 financial plan?
I certainly will, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
Give me a few seconds here. I'm going to share my screen and provide a presentation for everyone to follow. All right. Do you see the financial plan slide up?
Yes.
Awesome. And you can still hear me?
No. Yes.
Yes? Okay. So good evening, everyone, and welcome to the public hearing for the City of Dauphin's 2021 financial plan. As the mayor said, I'm Charlotte Griffiths, the city manager for the City of Dauphin. Thanks to council this year for their direction and for administration for their work to put the budget down on paper. To follow the rules for the public hearing under the Municipal Act, a public hearing must be accessible to both the public to hear it and to ask questions. To satisfy the first requirement, the city and this meeting and presentation is streamed live on the City of Dauphin's YouTube channel. And to satisfy the second requirement of community participation, we indicated in the advertisement for the public hearing for people interested in participating to register by April 30th to receive instructions on how to call in or log into the hearing. No members of the public are participating in tonight's public hearing. We appreciate the community's understanding in helping us balance the COVID-19 public health order restrictions with the requirements of the Municipal Act. And the presentation should last 20 minutes or less. So the Municipal Act requires municipalities of the province of Manitoba to hold a public hearing prior to adopting their financial plan. The purpose of this hearing is for council to share the City of Dauphin's 2021 financial plan, both the general fund and the utility fund, and I am presenting this information on behalf of Mayor and Council of the City of Dauphin. So the 2021 budget summary, overall, there is a decrease in the collection of municipal taxes by 4.6%. And this is attributed to the $301,000 of federal restart funding that council decided to put toward the budget. Council is continuing the level of spending on municipal infrastructure like roads, sidewalks, and water distribution, and there will be no cuts to any programming. A few highlights, council decided to add support for local community groups through $17,000 increase in grant funding. We're beginning a multi-year project to improve drainage in the south end of Dauphin, as well as improve storm runoff drainage on city streets. And we're investing in the community's recreation and active living through the expansion of the active transportation route along First Avenue Southeast and the improvement of the tennis courts at Meadowlark Park, creating them into a multi-use court, which includes tennis, pickleball, and basketball. So the budget is composed of two parts. One is the general fund and one is the utility. So the general fund covers things like public works, recreation, protective services, economic development, tourism, and administration. The utility covers water and wastewater. So we'll start with the general fund and specifically the revenue. So in the general fund, there's 4 streams of revenue: provincial school tax, local school tax, municipal tax, and other revenue like grants and user fees, fines. The first stream is the provincial school tax, and this is called the Provincial Education Support Levy. So this is this is not levied against residential properties, only commercial properties, and it's set slightly lower than 2020 at 8.809 mils, and that raises just over $973,000. Something to note is that the city collects the provincial school tax on behalf of the province. The city then passes on the amount collected to the province. The city has no control over the amount levied, and this tax, again, only pertains to commercial properties. The second stream is through the local school tax, and this goes directly to Mountain View School Division, as Mountain View School Division is the only division within our municipality. So they have set their mill rate at 14.620 mils in 2021, and that raises $4.761 million. This tax raises approximately the same in 2021 as it did in 2020 due to the province mandating that there be no increase to local school taxes in 2021. Similar to the last school tax, the city collects the local school tax on behalf of Mountain View School Division. The city then passes on the amount collected to the school division, and the city has no control over the amount levied. The city does not keep any of those school taxes. And something else I wanted to make note of, the province is making changes to school taxation. For properties that are principal residences, education tax paid on your tax bill will increase due to the partial removal of the education property tax credit, but the province will issue checks in the mail that will compensate for that increase. Additional information is forthcoming from the province, which will provide more details on this change. The third revenue stream is municipal tax. The City of Dauphin's municipal mill rate this year is 18.039. As a comparison, last year it was 18.908. So that's a decrease in 4.6%. And that mill rate will raise $6,174,485. It is slightly less than last year, and again, that is attributed to that $301,000 that council decided to take from the federal restart money that was flowed through the province, and reduce the amount of taxes that are levied against our ratepayers. So that is thereby reducing taxes for this year. And the fourth revenue stream, the other revenue, as I mentioned, grants, user fees, licensing fees, and taxes. A few of the highlights here, we're anticipating taxes added to be about $245,000 this year. Business licenses estimated at $96,000 this year. We know that our provincial municipal operating grant is $645,145, which is the same rate since 2016. We have the provincial public safety grant of $939,000, which helps offset our policing costs. And then we have federal and provincial grants, just over $900,000. And that is for federal and provincial entities, or federal and provincial owned properties in Dauphin. They don't pay taxes to us, but they do give us grants in lieu of that. Here's a slide that talks about the residential mill rate over the last 10 years. You can see that for residential properties in 2012, the mill rate, both school and municipal, was just about 46, and that's reduced down to about 32.5. And the municipal mill rate has been reduced by 33% in the last 10 years. Another slide to compare for commercial. Again, 2012, it was about 57, just over 57 mills. Now it's down to 41.5. So it does show that the mill rate in Dauphin has been decreasing over the years. The next slide that people are wondering, how does this budget affect property taxes? So here for a $100,000 worth of property, municipal taxes are $811.76. The tax that goes to Mountain View School Division, $657.90, leaving that as a total of $1,469.66. To compare it to 2020, it is about a $44 decrease per $100,000 of assessment. Similar comparison for commercial property. Again, per $100,000 of assessment, adding up the three streams of taxation there provides a tax bill of $2,695.43, or just under $65 decrease from 2020. So that ends the revenue side of the general fund. Next is the expenditures. And so I'll go through several categories and highlights of each, and noting that these categories mirror the provincial budget sheets that we use and that we have to provide to the province. It's our standardized reporting. So the first section is our general government services, and that's $1.326 million this year. That's an increase of 1.28% over 2020. And a few things to note here: there's a 1% wage increase, but it's some of it is offset by less travel expenses for meetings and conferences, again in 2021. Council decided to increase community grants and appropriations by $17,000, taking that up to $67,200 this year. The Dauphin Regional Airport Authority subsidy decreased to $88,658. That was just under $93,000 in 2020. And in 2021, we'll see some upgrades to City Hall landscaping, including some tree planting and some lighting. Next category in expenditures is for protective services, and this is our biggest category in our entire budget. So there's an overall increase of 3%, and protective services encompasses a number of areas. First is the RCMP, and it has the usual inflation increase. Next is the fire department, and that again has a usual increase for maintenance of small equipment, gear, and facility. It also has a section called emergency measures, and that's items associated with our shop to tend to emergencies, part of the emergency alerting system called Connect. This category also encompasses expenses for our building inspector, animal control, insect control, and our bylaw enforcement. The next category is transportation service or public works, $1.767 million, a decrease of 2.5% this year. This category includes the operating costs for public works, like maintenance of curbs and gutters, lanes and roads, general pavement repairs, crack sealing, general sidewalk repairs, drainage, ditch, culvert maintenance, mowing, street cleaning, snow and ice removal, bridge maintenance, street lighting, and signage. A couple projects that we're looking at this year are the Buckwald Bridge, a name I didn't know. I didn't know that bridge had a name, but the Buckwald Bridge is on 4th Ave Southwest. And in 2020, we did some testing on the bridge to see how it was holding up, and it did. The test indicated that it did need some rehabilitation. So we'll be doing the detailed design of the rehab this year, and hopefully programming the actual work in the coming years. And another project is there's some leaks at our shop building. And so we're doing some roof repairs this year. And again, going to be estimating perhaps some larger repairs in the future. Next category is environmental health. Just over $1 million and an increase of 7.21% in this category. This section includes garbage, yard waste recycling collection, along with maintenance of our waste disposal grounds. And after a few unexpected delays, our new diversion center will be open this summer and will allow residents to drop off various materials, such as old electronics called e-waste, used oil, paint, compact fluorescent bulbs, and mercury and thermometers and thermostats for proper disposal, and that will be free of charge. The next section, public health and welfare services, $33,749. This has seen no change for many years, 15 plus years, I believe. And that consists entirely of a one-tier social assistant payment to the province of Manitoba. Next section is our environmental development services, $221,685 this year. Big increase in this one, 38%, and that is due to the next, I guess, 4 items perhaps. First one is a development plan review, where the City of Dauphin is undertaking through a consultant review of our development plan. Council decided to allocate an extra $15,000 this year for rapid removal of Dutch elm disease trees. That's in addition to our usual wintertime removal. There will be some removal in July this year. That's to help remove some super spreader trees that are highly infected with the bugs that carry the Dutch elm disease, and hopefully to get those out of our community quicker. Communities in Bloom. This is a bright spot in our community. I'm told that it's a judging year this year. We aren't sure if it's going to be through photos or in person, but we're really excited to be part of that again this year. And lastly, in weed control. This section has some operation for a weed vaporizer. And a little bit later in our capital section, you'll see that there's a purchase of a weed vaporizer, and that is an environmentally sound way to get rid of weeds, especially in the cracks of sidewalks or the cracks of asphalt or concrete pavement in our, if there's anything in our playgrounds or any other area. So that's something that we're looking forward to as well this year, is to get rid of some weeds in our sidewalks. Next section is economic development. That's $510,000, an increase of 24% this year. And I will note that this does fluctuate depending on development and what's going on in our community each year. So from the economic development incentives, we're looking at residential, commercial, some tipping fee, spec homes, and business park incentives. And another example in that area is our business park marketing strategy that we're working on this year. Another part is tourism, which includes expenses for the visitor guide, park signage, aerial and other photos. And an example in this section is a Misk the Beaver at the south end. We'll be seeing a refresh in his attire, we'll call it. This section also includes the VAT appropriation. The next section, recreation and cultural services. This is our second biggest expenditure in our budget. There's an overall 2.21% increase, and noting that there's an 8% increase to Dauphin Rec Services operating budget. 2020 and shaping into 2021 have been difficult years for recreation, among other things. Usership and therefore user fees are down, but many costs in recreation are fixed. So we're pleased that we are able to help out recreation in our community. So that concludes the operating part of the general fund expenditures. Now we are moving on to the capital expenditures. The value here reflects our 2021 capital projects plus contributions that we make to reserves. And the following slides will have some highlights of those projects. So the first one I start out with is infrastructure and roads. So there are several areas around town where we're going to be doing some reconstruction, some resurfacing, and some overlay. And that totals about $652,000 this year. Next, infrastructure in terms of sidewalks. Capital, we're looking at the 200 block of Merrill for $22,000 this year. A few environmental projects. I mentioned the storm drain design and construction, or park construction. A compost site at the landfill we're working towards. And then the final payments of the electric vehicle rapid charger at City Hall. And those environmental items are just under $400,000. In terms of equipment replacement, we're looking at getting a new garbage truck, new to us or new to us crew cab pickup, as well as a new to us cube van for the utility. That is looking at $440,000. For the fire department, we're looking at getting a skid steer and storage for it. A good thing to point out here is that that is all paid for through a grant, 100% grant funding. And in terms of city buildings, some sprinklers for the grounds at City Hall, as well as the shop heating system for $105,000. In the economic development and tourism category, we're looking at several projects around town, totaling $175,000. And in the information technology category, we're looking at a new audiovisual system for council chambers that allows us to better connect with our communities and with each other. In the culture and arts section, there is a Dr. Vernon Watson statue coming in, and the city has committed to producing the base for that. And many people know that there's been some library renovations going on in terms of the windows and the entranceway. That building is owned by the city of Dauphin, and the city is putting $44,000 into that project. It was over 50% funded through grants, so there's a lot of good work going on at the library. In terms of recreation, another big category here. We really wanted this year to make certain that our residents had offerings, had good recreation offerings. If we're locked down again for the better part of 2021, it's great to be able to get outside and enjoy our community. So we are working on phase 2 of our active transportation route. Talked about that weed vaporizer so that our sidewalks are more passable for everyone, or easier to navigate. Purchase of a tree auger. Again, the multi-use court upgrades at Meadowlark Park, and a new greenhouse on the grounds of Dauphin Rec Services. A total of just over $490,000. So in summary, looking at the projects this year for capital expenditures, just under $2.5 million going towards all of those projects. And something else I just wanted to note, several years ago, council gave direction to administration to allocate $1 million, or at least $1 million on streets and sidewalks. So just to note, roads and sidewalk capital this year, $674,000. Roads and streets operating this year, 305,000. And sidewalks and boulevard operating is 193,000 for a total of 1.172 million. So this budget does satisfy that direction. Next, I'll move on to the utility, starting with the revenue. So we anticipate the water revenue this year to be just over $2.3 million, and the wastewater revenue to be $509,000. This is an increase over 2020 due to an anticipated rate increase that should start in the latter part of 2021. So currently the City of Dauphin's utility rates are based on a Public Utility Order 109/13. And the rates that we're using now are the same as those charged in 2018. Administration has been waiting for a major capital project, which is the lagoon expansion, to be awarded and constructed before applying for the new rates, so as to include the costs in the review. Unfortunately, the funding, which is federal and provincial through the Investing in Canada Infrastructure program, that grant has not yet been awarded, and we're not sure when it's going to be awarded. So in the fall of 2020, administration completed a review of the utility in its current state and applied for a rate increase for 3 years. That would be 2021, 22, and 23. To date, it's not been approved, but we're told it should be approved for use in the 3rd or 4th quarter of 2021. And as a reminder, a highlight of the change is that the proposed rate increases will vary depending on the services that's used by each user, but in no case will the increase be larger than 10%. Looking at the operating expenses of the utility fund, on the water side, $1.867 million this year, an increase of 2.75%. And for wastewater, $417,000, an increase of 6.47%. These increases are primarily due to the cost to operate both of those entities. Chemicals to treat the water always increasing in cost. And also, we have a few new staff in our utility, as well as some staff continuing their training. And the City of Dauphin does pay training for our utility workers, and there will be quite a bit of training going on this year. Next is the capital expenditures that we're anticipating for the utility fund. So we will be doing some water main relining, water main renewal, and wastewater relining for a total of $660,000 in several sections throughout our community. Something to note is that water main relining is a process that we do not have to dig up the street. We just have to open up holes at either end of the area that we're working on, and a contractor does do that work for us. So it's less invasive to the street. However, water main renewal is where we have to dig up the street. So we're doing more relining than renewal this year, so less disruptive to the ratepayers. Some other capital expenditures that I wanted to highlight. The Manitoba Water Services Board is providing 50% funding for 2 projects this year. One is lift station 1 and 2 upgrades, which does also include a component of orthophosphate at the water treatment plant. That project is $2.183 million. And then one project that is not yet tendered, but will be, or it's out for tender, but has been awarded yet, because we're just finalizing the City of Dauphin's borrowing funding for that, is the ultraviolet disinfection project, also at the water treatment plant. And that's estimated to be $2 million. The last item here is leak detection equipment, and that is to help our crews find smaller leaks in our water distribution system. So these capital expenditures are totaling $4.233 million this year. And that concludes the utility fund. Just have a few more slides here for some comparison. So overall, our debt analysis since 2009, just over $4 million in 2009, and right now we're sitting at So yes, just over $4 million in 2009, sitting over just over $800,000 at the end of 2021. The utility will incur more debt, as I mentioned, because of the UV disinfection UV disinfection project that we're working on. And then whenever that ICIP funding does come through for our lagoon, we will have to borrow some more for that. Those are two very worthwhile projects, though, that we look forward to both happening. And to close out, I wanted to just give a slide of information of how are our savings accounts doing. So in the closing for our general reserve, at the end of 2021, we're looking at $4.377 million. Our specific reserves are looking at $3.908 million for a total of $8.281 million at the end of 2021. As a comparison, 2011 was 4.408. In the utility, we anticipate to have $686,000 at the end of 2021. And so our total reserve balance at the end of 2021 is anticipated to be $8.967 million. Close to 10 years ago, Council of the Day set a threshold for the amount of money in the reserves being at least 1 year's tax take. Today's council agrees with that guideline, and note that 1 year's tax take is about $6.5 million. So we do have our reserves higher than 1 year's tax take. And that does conclude my presentation.
Thank you, Charla, and for you and your staff for the hard work in preparing the financial plan. Is there any other person present in support of the financial plan who wishes to speak? Seeing none. Nobody here. The representation for the public hearing for the City of Dauphin 2021 financial plan are now completed. Moved by Bellemare, Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that the public hearing for the 2021 financial plan be now concluded. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Be it resolved that council now reconvenes to the special council meeting. Moved by Councillor Riel and seconded by Councillor Stickhilo. Whereas due notice was given to the respect of the 2021 financial plan, and whereas no objections were received to said plan, be it resolved that the 2021 financial plan be accepted as presented. Further, be it resolved that council authorizes the mayor and city manager to duly sign and seal the 2021 financial plan and forward it along with bylaw 05-2021, 2021 tax levy once it receives third reading to Manitoba Municipal Relations. Moved by, where was I? Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved that bylaw 05-2021 being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin to set the 2021 tax levy be now read a first time. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Lachlan. Seconded by Councillor Eilers. Be it resolved that bylaw 06-2021 being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin to provide for the payment of taxes be now read a first time. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by, I got mixed up. Moved by Councillor Stikilo. Seconded by Councillor Riel. Be it resolved that bylaw 02-2021 being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin to authorize the expenditure and borrowing of funds for the ultraviolet disinfection upgrade at the water treatment plant. We received approval from the province and for the borrowing for the ultraviolet disinfection. Any questions? Call the question. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Lachlan. Be it resolved that bylaw 02-2021 being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin to authorize the expenditure and borrowing of funds for ultraviolet disinfection upgrades at the water treatment plant be now read a third time and signed and sealed by the mayor and city manager. I have to record the vote, so is everybody in favor? Councillor, good, thank you, unanimous. Moved by Councillor Riel, seconded by Councillor Stikilo. Whereas ultraviolet UV disinfection upgrades at the water treatment plant are estimated to cost $2 million, with $1 million coming from the City of Dauphin through borrowing bylaw 02-2021, and the remaining million be funded by the Manitoba Water Services Board. Be it resolved that Council accepts the information correspondence dated December 22nd, 2020 from Travis Parsons, General Manager of the Water Services Board, outlining the cost breakdown between the City of Dauphin and Manitoba Water Services Board, and providing a cost-sharing agreement with Water Services Board and the City of Dauphin respecting UV disinfection upgrades at the water treatment plant. Further be it resolved that Council authorizes a cost-sharing agreement between the Water Services Board and the City of Dauphin respecting ultraviolet disinfection upgrades at the water treatment plant to be signed and sealed on behalf of the city of Dauphin by the mayor and city manager. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carried.
Can I ask a question, Mayor Dohan?
Go ahead.
If the cost is over $2 million, then how is that paid for? Because we've authorized $1 million, and I understand that there's an estimate, but I also understand that with COVID, that the cost of construction is increasing and there's all kinds of delays. So what would happen in the event that it does go over 2 million?
I'll ask the city manager to do that.
Sure. So in the event that it was over, we would have to see how much it's over to evaluate if this project is still something that we want to do. If it is something that we still want to do, then we would have to go back to the municipal board and ask for more funding.
Okay. And in the event that, say, it comes up at under $2 million, is that cost equally shared, or do we pay $1 million regardless?
No, it is 50% funding. So
Okay.
it would be an equal share.
Okay, thank you.
By Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that this meeting does adjourn at 5:40.